All right, I think I'll get us going. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marcy Traxler, the Senior Vice President of Network Advancement at Easter Steel's National Office. Welcome to our program today, looking at the new norms of assistive tech and the delivery of services. Joining us today is Nicole Feeney. She's a Senior Director at Oak Hill in Connecticut. Nicole has a master's degree in special education and oversees the provision of technology to individuals with disabilities of all ages through the NEAT Center's innovative services. Nicole leads a team of skilled professionals conducting assessments and trainings across the continuum of assistive technology. Presenting at local and national conferences offers her the opportunity to promote community awareness and share unique and powerful benefits in using technology to support education, employment, independent living, and community needs. Welcome today, Nicole. We're looking forward to your talk. And if everyone would just mute their phones, that way, in case you have a dog or a cat or something in there, we won't be able to hear it. But Nicole, I'm going to turn it over to you. And please, everyone, put your questions in the chat and we will get to them during the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. That was a very warm welcome. I'm excited to be here with all of you today and kind of just share some information about how Oak Hill is conducting assistive technology services right now, but also how our services have been developing over the past few years and kind of where it's landed and where we see it growing. So that's what I'm hoping to do today. I'm really happy to treat this kind of informally and answer as many questions I can, or if you guys have comments or suggestions, I'm open to that too. We are always excited to learn from others and help develop our own practice. So that's exciting to me as well. I want to tell you a little bit more about myself in some detail, just so you understand where my experience has come from. But before the Senior Director of Oak Hill Centers here at Oak Hill, I was a special education teacher, and I taught students of all ages and abilities for about 10 years before getting my assistive technology degree, master's degree, and coming to the NEAT Center at Oak Hill to help deliver assistive technology services to I worked with a lot of students K through 12, but also I think just my experience working with kids with so many different kinds of disabilities really led to working with people of all ages. And then worked my way into being the director of the NEAT Center. And now I oversee all of the Oak Hill Centers, which are a cluster of unique disability services programs. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. So Oak Hill is Connecticut's largest private provider to services to people with disabilities. There are three main pillars for Oak Hill. We have community programs, which consists of group homes, in-home supports, day programs, and employment options throughout the state of Connecticut. Also throughout the state of Connecticut, we have an education department. So we have, these are private special education classrooms located within the community and within other public schools around the state of Connecticut. It's a 12-month program, so these students are in school all year. And it's really customized instruction, individualized instruction for kids with moderate to severe disabilities of all ages. The other pillar of Oak Hill is that we have Oak Hill Centers, which consists of 5 very unique and innovative disability services programs. Those programs consist of 2 accessible camps.
Prioritize. And I think if our seniors are vaccinated, then even if their families got sick, the senior is at lower risk. I think that is
we have an adaptive sports and fitness center. We have assistive technology services. And then we also have a program for, it's a curriculum designed to teach individuals with developmental disabilities about healthy relationships and sexuality education. And so those are 5 very unique programs and very robust. We reach thousands and thousands of people every year with our different services. And we really try to bring people in and then help them seek services from each of the programs, because generally speaking, when one person comes in for assistive technology, there's usually something for them in each of the other programs. So we work very hard on person-centered services. We are a very proud affiliate of Easter Seals, and so I have some beautiful pictures of our Easter Seals at Camp Hemlocks of Oak Hill, where we have an accessible campground located in Hebron, Connecticut. It's beautiful with tons of acres, beautiful lakeside, accessible campground where we have rock wall climbing, we have accessible boating, and we have an indoor accessible pool, which is very much in use right now for those with disabilities to come and be able to exercise in a safe environment. And every summer we have great campers who come out and they spend time and overnight camping sessions with us. And so throughout the year, we have rentals and other programs we can do there, but really in the summer, we've got a lot going on at our campground. So I'm happy to talk more if anybody should have questions about that, but that comes as part of our proud affiliation with Easter Seals. I want to talk a little bit more specifically about assistive technology, and that's kind of what I've been tasked with presenting to you today. And I genuinely love talking about the amazing things that the specialists are doing at this center. So I'm really excited about that. Our focus is working with people of all ages and abilities and trying to help them find success and independence in achieving whatever goals they have through access to assistive technology. And so that's really important to us. We spend a lot of time listening to what people's needs are and what their wants are. And sometimes those are two very different things. And we try to feature match and find technology that can help support them and meet their goals. We work with people across their lifespan. So we will work with someone, and often we will see them years later transition into a different stage of life and have a different need for assistive technology, whether that's, finding employment when coming out of school, or they've come into a disability later on in life. And so there can be a range of services that we provide to people over their lifespan. The youngest person I've worked with is 10 months old, and the oldest person I've worked with is 98. And so they both very much had technology needs, but they were very different and unique with what they were seeking. Oftentimes, we are seen as the center to send individuals who have very complex and unique needs, who have multiple disabilities, because we've got a very diverse team that I'll talk a little bit I'll talk about in a little bit, but they have a range of skills that really pull together nicely to fit the unique needs of individuals and students who have complex disabilities. We do work a lot within Connecticut, but we also travel and we do a lot of virtual and remote consultations and evaluations to other parts of the country and sometimes other parts of the world. Just for those of you who may not have a lot of knowledge about assistive technology, I wanted to touch base on what it actually means to us. And it really is any piece of equipment or device or tool or system of things that helps someone bypass or compensate for a specific need or a specific area of weakness. It's not a cure for what the disability is, but what it can do is capitalize on what their strengths are and bypass the areas of difficulty. So, if their only range of motion is moving their head slightly to the left or slightly to the right, we view that as a strength, and we capitalize on that to help feature match with technology that can help them speak through technology or access books, by capitalizing on what they can do with their head. It is most effective when accompanied by training and remedial efforts, meaning you're just not giving someone the technology and leaving them be. You're helping them kind of internalize how to use that technology, what it means to them, and helping them generalize those skills into other areas of their life to really fully capacity, to fully, to give them the full amount of potential through that technology. AT services, how we see them and how most see them, are any service that directly assists an individual with a disability in choosing their technology. So evaluating their needs, matching them with the technology that exists out there and informing them about what the potential is for that. Collaborating with other professionals who might be outside your area of expertise, but have insight on why you will go in a specific direction. Maybe it's customizing or fitting the chair or the equipment to suit that individual's needs, and then also providing them with the training so they can learn more and kind of dive into what that technology actually means for them. At NEAT, or New England Assistive Technology, but we go by NEAT here, we reach over 16,000 people a year just at our program, and we have about 9 individuals on our staff. Our focus is really on assistive technology, augmentative alternative communication, blind and low vision, and smart technology. But we also have a range of services that you'll see to the right that is disability awareness and mentoring. We have a smart home on wheels, and I'll talk a little bit about all of these things as we go through the presentation today. But all of these arenas we touch on in some way, shape, or form through consultation, evaluation, training, workshops, keynotes, presentations, and more. So the new norms of AT have been developing for us for years. We do feel like over the years, we are always making change, which can sometimes be hard, but as a tech center, we know how critical it is to take in what's new and make it your own and see where the benefits lie. And so really this year has pushed us even further into that rabbit hole of change. And quite frankly, we're seeing some really great results within our own tech team, but also within the agencies and the individuals that we serve around us. Our team, we're a very small team, but we have a large reach. Our team is all nationally recognized specialists and speakers. One of the big things for us is that we dive deep into a specialty area. We have an area of expertise. Not one AT specialist on our team can know everything, and we recognize that. Technology is a large world. It is almost impossible to know everything, and then to be able to relate that to different kinds of individuals with different disabilities. So we really are very proud of having areas of expertise, because then it allows us to collaborate in a way that really approaches the framework of assistive technology with different views and perspectives that ultimately decide on very special technology for the people that we serve. So we're extremely team oriented. You will often find us collaborating on evaluations or services together. So for example, if you have someone who is in a wheelchair, has a communication disability and a vision impairment, you may find 2 or 3 specialists who are coming out to serve that individual. Sometimes it's remotely, where one is in person and the others are remote, but we're often working together at some capacity in that service. We have many of the people on our team serve, they travel to national conferences and they deliver keynotes and presentations on the awareness of assistive technology in their area of expertise. They are very well recognized, and they also contribute to national publications and resources throughout the country. How we continue to improve our skill sets is really, we take pride in having a monthly tech share with our own team. We've recently started recording those monthly tech shares because we decided that who wouldn't want to be a fly in the wall with a group of technology specialists who are talking about assistive technology and the potential impact for that. So we've recently started recording those and have every intention of putting those out into the world for people to view at their own pace. But professional development and tech share is important to us because we have these areas of expertise where we dive into our own field. we want to make sure we're still in touch with what all of our teammates are doing. And so it really helps us evolve ourselves in the decision-making process for people when we're delivering AT services. So at NEAT, we conduct assistive technology and augmentative alternative communication services. We deliver consultations and evaluations in both arenas for people with all different kinds of abilities. This is a multi-step process, and it usually results in the set of technology recommendations, usually in the form of a written summary or report, depending on the team that we serve, and helping to eliminate the barriers and have someone really fully access their independence with the use of that tech. We touch on all arenas. We're in the community, we're in helping students transition from high school into the work fields or home or community programs. We're working with people in their homes in community living, but also we spend a lot of time in educational facilities throughout Connecticut. We're currently working with every single school district in the state of Connecticut through a contract with the State Department of Education, where we are delivering targeted AT supports and professional development to help them build their own capacity. So that has been a really exciting adventure for the past year and a half, and we have a year and a half left on our contract. So that's been kind of a trip. We can deliver services both in person and virtually, or within a hybrid. So what we're finding now is that a hybrid solution is mostly where we're at, or remote. We're finding that we can fulfill the needs of people mostly remotely, and that the people that we serve in person really have, generally speaking, have very complex needs. There's a reason that we need to go and be able to touch and manipulate the technology to help figure out what is going to work for them. So we are going out to see people in person, but really on a limited basis at this time, especially during the pandemic. But I think what we're learning from all of the differences in our services is that remote has brought about some incredible ways for us to see that, to involve the team around the individual, whether it's parents, staff, special education professionals, or special related services, where they're hands-on in the service, where it's not just us coming in anymore, manipulating the technology, conducting trials, and then making decisions. Because it's remote, we're really having to talk to the professionals on the other end and have them manipulate the technology, have them troubleshoot with us. And so there's an experience in that is allowing them to be a part of the decision-making process and really learn that way, so that when we exit the service, or it's been finalized and conducted, they can then take what they've learned and carry it through in a better implementation type of with a better implementation strategy. They've learned through the process. And so we've been pleasantly surprised with how this pandemic has kind of thrust people into the learning phase of technology and really embedding that in their classrooms and in their homes and in their group homes in a way that wasn't done before. We always consider what the technology is that is available. We don't come in looking to spend a lot of money or to get people to run out and buy the latest technology. We recognize that sometimes there are budgetary issues. Sometimes, people have what they have and we have to make it work. But it never limits us on making recommendations of better technologies that exist. So we always consider what's there and can it solve this person's issues or eliminate some of the barriers. And if not, then we're making decisions about technology that exists beyond that, and maybe having to purchase something and put that in place. Our recommendations are always research-based and evidence-based. We're conducting trials. We're collecting data on how that technology solution is working for them, because we're generally basing that on several different trials of multiple pieces of technology. And so we want to make sure that when we decide on what our recommendation is going to be, that it's evidence-based and that we've really trialed it and can show and demonstrate why that decision has been made. Another best practice for us is that we never just list tools. It's never just a bunch of bullet points of apps that exist in the world. These might be lists of apps with very specific individualized strategies and implementation suggestions on why we picked this tool, what it means for this person, and how we think that they should use it or could benefit from it. Because there's so much technology that exists in the world, but people use it differently depending on what their needs are. And so those strategies have to be implemented throughout our decision-making process. So AT and AA services have changed. I did mention that kind of some of the things that we're seeing right now that kind of thrust us into the pandemic, and then we had to make decisions about delivering services. But we are seeing that it's much more collaborative, and that after the pandemic ends and people may start to kind of go back into their offices and their classrooms and their group homes, we're finding that our services we're saving time and we're saving money, and we can reach more people by delivering remote services. So it's much more cost effective for us to deliver remote services because we can see several people in one day, as opposed to traveling across Connecticut to see one person traveling all the way back. And that one day has been captured for one person. We can see many more people. And then the other side of that, it's not always about money for us. That just happens to be a plus and a bonus to growing our services. The other piece is that it's more collaborative. The people on the other end of that virtual call, whether it's a parent or, group home staff or an employer or a teacher, they are collaborative in the process, and they can see the benefits of the technology actually being used as we're assessing and making decisions. We're also spreading services throughout the day. So when you go out to see someone normally in person, you're going out to see them and you're spending a few hours. But what's nice about doing remote services is that we're able to spread those services out for an hour here and an hour there across a week or two, depending on the individual's needs. And it just allows us to process shorter amounts of information, kind of really internalize that and make decisions and come back and trial other things before making a final recommendation in a report or a summary. One additional piece to this has been, well, if we're going remote, how will we provide these services if we're not bringing the technology to people anymore? And the answer to that is we've developed neat toolkits. And so these toolkits have all the equipment that the individual will need for the actual evaluation. For example, if this is an individual who we're looking at for AAC or communication devices, we will package a webcam and a mounting system, sometimes an extra iPad, so that when we do a Zoom call with them, they can set up multiple cameras so we can see the devices from different views. We're not just looking at it from one view. We can see that device and the mobility issues or any other fine motor, gross motor issues from different angles and really guide the team in that way. So that has been greatly helpful. The other piece is that we're sending out the actual devices that would be needed, the actual AAC devices, the iPads with the apps, multiple sets of them so that people can, so we can say over, Zoom, all right, take out the iPad, open up touch chat, put on this overlay and hide these buttons. And so we're guiding the team in that way. They have all the technology they need on their end to make decisions. We've introduced a new service this year that kind of came out of the pandemic. We saw that in-person things were just not going to happen, even for people with significant needs at the time. And so we developed this this Kickstart, which consists of a fusion of consultation and coaching sessions. And this has been extremely, extremely popular. And we're really trying to push people to this now instead of formal evaluations. Because a formal evaluation really consists of us coming in, providing the service, writing a report, delivering recommendations, and then it's on them to kind of implement the tools. But the NEAT Kickstart allows us to come in like we would with an eval, provide a consultation, conduct trials, give direct guidance, make decisions in a similar way, provide strategies while we're there, and technical assistance if needed. But then what happens is we write the summary, provide it to the team, and then follow up with 2 hours of implementation training. So we're not walking away from that saying, here's the recommendations, you guys are on your own. We're saying, here's the recommendations, and now we want to teach you how to use the tools. And we're doing that remotely, and it's been a very successful and very popular service for us over the past 6 months. Are there any questions, Marcy, that I should stop and answer, or should I just keep going?
Yeah, I think, Eric, I think you had some questions. If you want to just kind of, I know she probably answered some, but just to elicit a little bit more, if you could unmute and ask away.
Sure, I'm going to have to read them again. So your virtual and remote services, is that new or did that exist pre-pandemic?
So that existed pre-pandemic. That wasn't new to us. So we felt like when all the schools and when all of the agencies went remote, I think there was a panic of, oh my God, how do we work from home? Never mind serve our students remotely, or the people that we serve. And so there was this panic. And for us, it was like, okay, we got this. We've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, we've been delivering remote services to people across the country for a couple of years now. And so it isn't new, but I think learning from this process and learning to see how people react to remote services, we've then developed other services like the Kickstart to help people with the implementation and really make sure that we're following through with their learning process.
Okay. Are you all doing wheelchair evals? You seem to mention some customization of chairs.
We have a durable medical equipment reuse program at NEAT, and so we do take gently used durable medical equipment and we refurbish it and put it back to the market for less than half of what it would cost normally. And we do have a team of professionals there who can help support the decision-making process, but we generally encourage that when someone's coming to buy a wheelchair or a walker or a stander, that they're bringing a professional with them who can help them make that decision. So we're certainly there to help support that decision-making process, but we're also encouraging that providers come with their clients.
And can you just talk about your funding streams for the AT side, AAC AT side? Who's paying you to do this stuff?
It's a great question. So we heavily run after grants. So we are very grant driven. We do get grants for specific projects or for NEAT as a whole. And so that to us is very important. And we spend a lot of our time writing grants and hoping for the best. We do have state contracts. So we work with different state agencies and have contracts where we're serving them with different services that NEAT provides just in a unique way to them, which helps kind of alleviate some of the financial stress in other ways. So we have state contracts, we have grants, and then we also get some state funding to support like our durable medical equipment and our lending library. And then we are a fee for service. So a lot of the school districts pay a lot of the school districts and the state agencies who use our services will pay us outright what our fee for services are.
Okay. So the DME is supported by the Tech Act money?
Yep, that does help us directly with our durable medical equipment. But people also pay for their wheelchairs or their walkers when they come in to make purchases for durable medical equipment.
Yeah,
It's
I bought
just-
stuff from you guys.
I'm sorry?
I said I purchased wheelchair parts from you guys before.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah. And so we try to make it affordable. Of course, we understand that people are coming to us for gently used durable medical equipment because they may not be able to afford it in other ways. So, but the grant funding and the Connecticut Tech Act funding is certainly critical to that.
Thanks.
So
Sure.
Nicole, when your grant runs out for the school, it sounds like they're trying to make their own assistive technology. Is that correct? And then does that impact the contracts or money you would get for providing services, or would you augment those? You know, what happens? Is that a big part of your funding?
It is and it isn't. We were very successful. So it wasn't a grant. It's a contract. So they're paying us for the services that we deliver to schools. And the hope is that we're kind of building capacity and we're bringing awareness to assistive technology, recognizing that all of these school districts are going to continue to need assistive technology professionals to help them make decisions, but you're bringing that awareness to them that they may not have had, a few years ago. And so our hope is that by doing all this, reaching out to different school districts, that they're seeing the benefit in the service and that will continue. So we're trying to grow that way and make connections so that we can keep that relationship moving forward. We also have a membership to meet. So these school districts, a lot of them were members before this contract came into place. So that membership piece is important for us because it helps us stay engaged with them and deliver services in that way.
And then I'll stop, but I'm just wondering if you could say a little bit about what your membership program is in case people are considering that,
Sure, absolutely. And so I think I will even get into that on a couple of the slides.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, but it's a great question. And so the membership to NEAT is, it's $500 a year for agencies, universities, school districts. For individual providers, it's $150 a year. And for those with disabilities, it's free. And that membership provides access to our lending library, which I'll talk about in just a second, but also access to our extensive list of online webinars and online tutorials where people have access to the live ones for free and our archive sessions. So they can kind of watch them at their own pace. So it's a way to stay engaged and use our areas of expertise to their benefit in delivering maybe their own services.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure. So Marcy, I'll let you stop me if more questions come in, but otherwise I'll go back to my my presentation slides. We have recently kind of dove into AAC coaching and therapy. We're really looking now to, we've just received a really nice grant to grow our AAC department. We currently have 2 speech and language pathologists who are delivering AAC evaluations and consultations around the focus of communication. And there is such a need right now. I would say it's equal to or more so than assistive technology. We're seeing right now a huge trend up in requests for AAC. And so we're looking to grow that program. And we're able to write and receive a grant to help us do that. And so the sustainability piece is that we know that the services are there and that they're needed. And AAC is really an up and coming thing. We know that it's been around for a while, but I think in the speech and language community, people are really starting to want more information about how this impacts the kids and the adults that they serve, wherever that is. And so coaching and therapy has changed in the way that it's led by a speech and language pathologist who is also an AAC specialist. This is very important to us because, of course, there are AT practitioners who conduct AAC evaluations, but I think the benefit of having a speech and language pathologist focus on that is that their background is in language development. And so feature matching the devices and the programming and the needs of the individual with the language needs is critical. And it's so important. It goes way beyond how someone just interacts with a device. It has so much to do with language development and growth over time. So they are led by an SLP. And the idea behind coaching and therapy is that after evaluation and consultation, it was like we were giving recommendations to the team, and then they had no idea what to do with the technology. It's so overwhelming, and it's understandable that the implementation piece was really, really hard. And so coaching and therapy has come to us as a way for us to meet individuals, families, and teams where they're at and help them expand their use of AAC device in lots of different arenas of their life. And kind of going beyond that broad range of communication, it's not just about saying what you need or what you want, like I need bathroom. That's not it. Communication is so much more than that. And so it's being able to comment or describe, ask questions, tell a joke. And so we want to make sure that AAC is brought into that kind of light. And so that's what we're doing with coaching and therapy right now. We're also working towards being able to take insurance to cover some of these services. Hopefully to come soon. We do have, thanks to our partners at the Connecticut Tech Act and to AARP Connecticut, we have received funding year to year to have a lending library full of hundreds of AT tools and iPads and iOS apps, Chromebooks, different devices, robots, communication devices, alternative keyboards and mice, eye gaze technology, so that people can borrow from us to make a decision about whether or not this tool is really what's going to work for their loved one or their student or the individual that they serve. So people can borrow these devices for 30 days, make a decision, and then they return the device and go make the purchase or try something else if that loan did not work out the way that they had hoped. And so the idea is to try it before you buy it. I think what has happened over the years is people buy things that they think will work. It doesn't work, and then it ends up in a closet somewhere collecting dust, which is heartbreaking for AT specialists, right? We want to see those things kind of being used effectively. We currently have many sterilization methods in compliance with CDC guidelines. We've purchased ultraviolet radiation machines and wands to help us to really make sure that we're able to kind of sanitize. We have protocols in place where devices can come in and then go out in a safe manner. So we feel really good about where we're at with that. Two recent purchases. One, we have a robot, an actual double robotics robot that can be borrowed and can go to schools or work environments where someone who is medically fragile and really cannot during this pandemic come back into any kind of phase where COVID might be a concern. And they have to be remote, but are so wanting that engagement of being with other people. We have robots that they can try and put into place to see if telepresence is something that can work for them. So it's just taking Zoom or Teams to a whole nother level, because when you put it on a robot and you're able to drive it around an office space or a classroom, you're able to connect with that environment in a very different way than you are just with that kind of one-dimensional Zoom meeting. We also just received 2 Movia robotics. These are straight out of Bristol, Connecticut, and they are, it's the little guy in the middle of your screen, super cute. His name is Kebby, and he delivers instructional curriculum to students with autism and significant special needs. He has a whole interaction. He learns your name. And so there's a whole engagement piece to using these robotics in the classroom with students who struggle with learning. Okay, I want to be mindful of your time. So there's so much to share, I'm sorry. We are currently working with the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood, the Birth to 3 program. We're loaning devices to providers and to families so that they can conduct their own remote services. What we found often in our lending library is people were wanting to borrow multiple devices, one for themselves as the provider and the other as the family, for the family so that they can connect, because there's still plenty of people, which I'm sure you've all learned about, that don't have access. They don't have access to the technology at home like we may have thought that they did. And so therapies just kind of stopped. School just kind of stopped for some people who did not have access to Wi-Fi and devices in that way. And so we're working with Birth to 3 to get those providers and the families the devices that they need. And so some of that is through the lending library at NEAT, and some of that is through the Governor's Education Emergency Relief Fund, where the Birth to 3 program is kind of delivering 350 iPads to us, and we're helping them disperse and track those devices to providers throughout the state. Along those same lines, for the Office of Early Childhood, but not only them, also for ALSA Connecticut, we host the Adaptive Equipment Reuse Program here in Connecticut. So it is open to the public where people can donate or purchase durable medical equipment. But we also house the Office of Early Childhood Adaptive Equipment Inventory. So all the, the baby and toddler equipment, we recycle for the state of Connecticut, because children grow. And when they grow out of wheelchairs, what happens to all of these wheelchairs? We don't want them ending up in landfills or in someone's garage. So we're bringing them into the inventory, and then providers come in, they connect with us about what their needs are, and we help match them to recycled durable medical equipment so that they can use it with other children who are in need in the Birth to 3 program, saving them thousands of dollars a year, quite frankly. We also do this with ALSA of Connecticut, where we host their durable medical equipment for people who have ALS. That disorder moves quickly sometimes, and so equipment is purchased and then there is a need to reuse it. And so we're helping them with that program as well. They also then have that unique relationship with the NEAT specialists in our areas of expertise. So, if there's a child who needs a wheelchair and has a communication disability, they can be meeting and talking with the different specialists who exist here. We do smart technology assessments, where people can reach out to us if they're in need of smart technology to help them be more independent, to live home longer than they would have expected if they couldn't, more independently with their dignity. We have a smart tech specialist on our team who is not only knowledgeable about smart technology, but he's knowledgeable about disabilities, and he's able to help talk to people about what their specific goals are for the technology, and then talk to them about what technology matches. So not just go into Home Depot, buy these smart bulbs and this smart, TV, but which ones and why. I have a disability where my voice doesn't work as strongly. And so what smart devices could I use instead of voice activated devices? So he is well sought after and very, very busy. He is currently working with the Connecticut State Department of Aging and Disability Services. Excuse me. So he is, we have a contract with the state to deliver smart tech assessments to those who are aging in place and in danger of social isolation, provide them with the technology recommendation, and then also provide them with the training on learning how to use it during this time. That should go for the next year or so while this pandemic seems to continue on. We're also working with group homes throughout the state of Connecticut, incorporating smart home tech in meaningful ways for the participants who live there. Not only that, but a year and a half ago, we received grant money from the CTA Foundation to build a smart home on wheels. And so we have a smart home on wheels that we can bring to different events and conferences across the country. And inside it is outfitted with all of the latest smart technology. And so we can deliver tours virtually and in person, and bring it to events to teach people about the importance of smart technology and how the privacy and the security concerns around that. This has been a really exciting thing for us. And so smart technology has really become a bright spot for us. We're really excited to see where this goes. Additionally, some of the more exciting things that we've got going on with gaming accessibility, with accessibility is gaming accessibility. We're very much using our, we have a professional on staff who is, his focus is individuals with physical disabilities, and he's very much into finding gaming solutions for those with physical disabilities. And so I have a video that I can share with all of you, but I want to be respectful of your time too. So I can absolutely send this presentation to Marcy and she can share it, but there's a wonderful video of our AT specialist going into a school where there are kids of all different abilities playing video games together in very different ways. So it's kind of a brilliant aspect of what we do, and we're currently seeking grants to help support us and get us to reach more people, because it's so important to not only help people with disabilities have access to education and to work and communication, but also for fun. So Adam, who is our tech specialist here, he also is doing a lot of remote support with video game accessibility right now. We do a lot of 3D printing. I think a lot of it goes into play with communication and gaming accessibility, quite frankly, right now. We do have a 3D printer that is constantly going. We've been very active in creating multi-sensory approach to learning. So little tchotchkes that can help somebody with a vision impairment connect with the information that their teacher is talking about in terms of a volcano. You know, what does that feel like when the teacher's describing what a volcano looks like? And so that's been incredible, but also we've been creating a lot of overlays for keyboards and for communication devices so that someone who doesn't have that finger isolation is able to use the key guard to kind of insert their finger to where what key they want to stroke on the keyboard, instead of accidentally hitting keys that they didn't mean to because they can't isolate their finger touch. But also in just accessing video game controllers, we all kind of know what video game controllers look like, but they are not accessible to everyone who has physical disabilities. Sometimes there has to be manipulations or things attached to that device so that someone can grip it a little bit easier and play with their peers. So we're actively using our 3D printer to help support people's access to the things that they need daily. Another big piece of that has been kind of coming furiously over the past few months, year, has been digital accessibility. There's been certainly a trend across the country in paying attention to website accessibility, document accessibility on college campuses, for those who have vision impairments and use screen readers. And so we have two specialists on our team where this holds a close passion to their heart, and they spend a lot of time with agencies, companies, helping them develop better strategies and better tools and documents that can be supported by digital accessibility. So we've recently been asked to create a lot of content for conferences so that the content is accessible, and actually support more and more remote webinars and presentations that are not accessible to everyone. We've been asked to kind of step in and make sure captioning is on and transcription is supported. And so that's been a fun piece. We've recently developed a college course to help educate students about the process of making things accessible and how that might be, because over the next few years, this will most definitely be a job for people in helping create digital content, accessible content. So you're with me today, but we do a lot of webinars and professional development. We are constantly online trying to educate people about awareness to AT, Also, we'll dive deep into our areas of expertise, whether it be smart tech solutions or technology solutions for those with learning disabilities. And so with our membership, you can have access to all of the webinars and the professional development that we have and the archive sessions as well. We also bring in speakers from around the country. So it's not just our NEAT team. We also tap people who we see as important in the world of assistive technology right now to come in and help us out. We do have a hotline. So if you had just like a question or you weren't sure what to do with the question that you had, but you wanted to throw it out there, we do have a hotline for people to kind of reach out to us and we can help guide them. Whether it's just an answer we can respond to through an email and give you some guidance on where to look. For example, we had a mom from Hawaii check out one of our webinars and she had follow-up questions. So she just emailed the hotline and we were able to give her some guidance that way. But we've also had other people have really in-depth questions where we say, wow, it seems like you might need a remote consultation. Let's connect on that level. So it's a way for us to connect and provide guidance to those who aren't sure where to go.
Nicole, just a quick, going back to your lending library, do they do the device demonstrations and how do you track the inventory?
Oh, great question. So we have a tracking system here at NEAT. There's a federal database that we're actually connected to through our Connecticut Tech Act, where we put all of our inventory in there. And then people who borrow that equipment, their information goes into that tracking system and we can get feedback that way. We can also track how many times that device has gone out, how long it was out for. And so it prints a report for us and we're able to share that with our funders because that's part of why they fund our program, is to see where those devices are going and how often they're going out. And then I'm sorry, I forgot what the second part of your question was.
Who does the device demonstrations? Is it the library staff or?
Yep. So we don't have a specific library staff. We all kind of work together with that in our area of expertise. So if someone, if someone was to have a question about a communication device, you're going to be sent to our SLP and our AAC specialist so she can make time with you to go through any of that or demo that or have a conversation about that item. It's so important to us that you're getting the right information from the right professional. So we're constantly working to set people up with the right team member at NEAT, because we want you to walk away with the most information, not just kind of a brush of the information.
And then there was one last question about who is creating the CAD files for your 3D printer?
Our AT specialists.
Oh, okay.
One of our AT specialists, or he's getting them from some of the resources online. There's so many resources online for 3D printing now that a lot of the AT tools that exist can be found in resources across the internet. So a little bit of both.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I was just trying to keep up with the chat.
Oh, good. No, that's great. I'm happy to take more questions. I hope that this has actually given everybody a moment to kind of see how you can connect with me or connect with the team moving forward. We're very much present on social media through Twitter and Instagram. And so feel free to just connect with us on that level. We'll follow you back and then we can have conversations moving forward. We also have a monthly newsletter. So, and then I'm almost done, but was there a question?
No, go ahead.
I'm almost done, but I just wanted to kind of bring it full circle just to remind you that I kind of dove deep into the NEAT Center at Oak Hill and all of the amazing services that we present around assistive technology. But we work so closely with our other Oak Hill centers that I just thought it was important to kind of bring that full circle and share with you that a lot of times when somebody comes in and they need assistive technology, they often need some of the other services that we provide. And so we do have the adaptive sports and fitness program, our accessible campgrounds, and the curriculum for health, relationships, and sexual education that we find that are just so critical right now for people with disabilities, both at any age range, really. And so if you're lacking in one area of your life, we usually try to connect you with another center who might be able to kind of support you in that way, or other resources. So I'd be interested to talk to anybody on this call today, after today, about what your resources are that you can share with us, and we can kind of help spread the word for you. I think that's important to us because we pride ourselves on being a resource center, not just for ourselves, but for resources in general for those with disabilities. So I'm happy to take more questions if there are some, but this QR code will get you to our website at Oak Hill. This is my contact information. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody after today. Just give me a shout out and we'll take it from there. But Marcy, I'm going to turn it back to you.
No, this was great. Thank you so much, Nicole. I mean, had we had a little bit more time, I think I would have asked you, since you're so dependent, well, look, I'm asking you anyway, since you're so dependent on grant funding, is that something that keeps you up at night and trying to think of new ways of which you can actually get paid for this?
Yeah, so it's interesting. No, I think, no, I welcome that. And I've been, this has been something, it does not keep me up at night. It's the opposite. So we've very much kind of built up our services around private pay. So school districts, agencies paying us directly for our services. We've really built ourselves up that way. And we've just recently, over the past couple of years, really started hustling after those grants. So that kind of came after the fact, where it certainly has helped us kind of sustain and push our program forward. But the fee for service is what has helped us really get where we are. And the grants have just been even more helpful in helping us push forward, hire professionals, build up that sustainability piece. So no, I mean, other things keep me up at night, but it's a great question. I think we have a great combination of both people paying for services and the grants coming in.
Well, okay, that's great, because I just wondered, and as we get into, we're forming an assistive technology affinity group, and I think these are some of the things we can look at. Are there ways for us to leverage, all these great centers that are within the Easter Seals network, and then think of ways that we could branch out or offer these to, insurance companies or other places where this could be very beneficial. And especially, or not especially, but I think there's a lot of opportunity in the senior population as we go through this, age wave, and more people want to stay in their homes, and insurers and healthcare providers want them to stay in their homes. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah, I would be open to any conversation. Plus, I kind of talked about all the great things, but there are things that keep me up at night that people on this call or in your network may have answers to that I would love to know what those answers are. So I'd like to connect on that level. Certainly we have things we can share that have gone really well, but we also have tried things and they've not gone as well as expected. So we've lots of information to share, and hope that there are others out there who'd be willing to share too.
Well, again, many thanks, and we will be sending the presentation out, and we'll also list it in the leadership update. So if you get those, you'll see the presentation there too. And we'll make sure that Nicole's email contact information is, so if you have a question you'd like to address with her, you could just reach out. So thanks very much, Nicole. We look forward to it. Thanks everyone for getting on today, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.